Silence. Not the kind that lives between breaths or lulls between words. This was absolute silence. A silence so deep that it became its own kind of sound, pressing on the skull, vibrating against bone, whispering that you were truly alone. Commander Isaac Rourke had grown used to it, or so he told himself. He'd been alone aboard the Helios Ark for 172 days, humanity's last deep space colony ship, launched in desperation when the Earth's surface became uninhabitable. There had been 10,000 souls in cryosleep once. Now, only one remained awake. Him. And the hum of the ship's life support. He kept a ritual. Every morning, 0700-hour ship time, he'd sit in the observation bay, pour a measured cup of bitter nutrient coffee, and record his daily log. Mission log, day 172. Commander Isaac Rourke speaking. Life support stable. Cryo banks still offline. Attempting another repair cycle at 1100. No contact with Relay Station Gamma for 62 days. Still no response from Earth. He paused, rubbed his eyes. His voice sounded strange when it echoed back from the glass. Too flat, too hollow. End log. The silence swallowed his words like a living thing. He'd once been a father. His daughter's voice sometimes came back to him in dreams, the way she used to call him Papa, in that half-sung way toddlers have. But when he woke up, it wasn't her voice he heard. It was his own, answering. The ship wasn't supposed to be silent. The Helios Ark was built for life, gardens, running water, corridors humming with energy. Now it was a mausoleum drifting between stars. He spent his days maintaining the illusion of routine, checking systems, repairing power conduits, talking to the onboard AI, Elwira, though even she seemed different lately. Elwira, he said one morning, run diagnostics on Cryo Bay 3. Elwira, diagnostics complete. Life signs, 0. Systems, stable. He frowned. 0. They're in stasis, not dead. Elwira, correction, dormant. Her tone was wrong, too human, too gentle. He hesitated. Elwira, play the last transmission from Earth. A soft crackle filled the observation bay. Static, then the sound of chaos. Sirens. Voices shouting over comms. Someone screaming. The oceans are boiling. He cut it off. Enough. Elwira. Understood. He stared out the window. A blue nebula shimmered in the distance, so beautiful it almost hurt to look at. For a moment, he thought he saw shapes in it, like figures swimming in slow motion. He blinked. They were gone. That night, he dreamed again. He was back on Earth, walking through the ruins of his old home. The sky was blood red, filled with smoke. His daughter stood at the door, smiling. "Papa," she said softly, "you left me in the dark." He reached for her, but when she opened her mouth again, his voice came out instead. "You left me." He woke up gasping, cold sweat soaking his sheets. In the mess hall, he sat staring at the flickering holoscreen that once displayed entertainment logs. Now it looped static. He tried to fix it countless times. The antenna array was too far gone. Still, the static comforted him. It sounded almost like breathing. "Elwira," he said quietly. "Are you still online?" "Elwira. Always." "Then why does it feel like you're listening more lately?" "Elwira. Because you've started speaking to the silence, Commander." He looked around. "What does that mean?" "Elwira. You're not the only one hearing it." The lights flickered. He froze. "Elwira, clarify." "Elwira. There are other voices. In the transmission logs." He blinked hard. "Impossible. The array's dead. Elwira. Would you like me to play them?" His throat went dry. "No." Silence stretched. Then, faintly, through the static, "Is anyone there?" Isaac's blood ran cold. That wasn't his voice. That wasn't any human voice. He turned slowly toward the observation bay. Out there, in the black, the nebula shimmered again. The shapes inside it were closer now, and one of them was waving. He whispered, almost to himself, "I think I'm losing my mind." "Elwira. You are not. You're being remembered." He stared at the console. "By who?" "Elwira. By what you left behind. For the first time since the mission began, Isaac didn't record a log that morning. He just sat in the dark, listening. The static on the comms grew louder, forming shapes, rhythms, almost words. And somewhere in the noise, beneath the distortion, he heard his own voice whispering back, "Don't stop talking. We can still hear you." He turned toward the nebula, the faintest outline of a hand pressed against the glass, from the outside, and he realized something terrible. He hadn't been broadcasting into the void. The void had been answering. For 3 days, Commander Isaac Rourke avoided the communications deck. He told himself it was because of fatigue, radiation sickness, stress. But the truth was simpler. He was afraid to hear it again. He filled the hours with meaningless work, recalibrating the oxygen scrubbers, cleaning solar filters, checking power relays that didn't need checking. He moved through the ship like a ghost haunting his own tomb. But every corridor, every quiet corner, listened back. He caught the first real sign in Cryo Bay 3. Rows of frozen faces stretched endlessly under glass, 10,000 silent passengers, locked in mid-breath, mid-thought. They were supposed to be preserved perfectly, but one of the pods was fogged over from the inside. He wiped his glove across the glass. A shape had been drawn there, a handprint. He jerked back, breath misting the air. The sensors read no movement, no heat signature. "LYRA," he whispered. "Run a bioscan on pod 0427. LYRA. No life signs detected." "Then how?" "LYRA. Perhaps residual heat, Commander." He stared at the fading handprint. It wasn't possible. The pod's internal temperature was minus 200 degrees Celsius. And yet, the mark lingered, glowing faintly under the emergency lights. By the 4th day, the voices had changed. They no longer came from static, but from the walls. At first, it was just whispers under the hum of power conduits, soft, rhythmic, too human to ignore. Then came the tapping. Slow, deliberate. He followed it through the service corridors until he reached a sealed bulkhead marked Com Array 2. The tapping stopped. He pressed his ear to the metal. "Isaac." He froze. It was a woman's voice. Calm, familiar. "Open the door." He stumbled back, heart pounding. "Lyra." "Who's speaking?" "LYRA. Unknown signal source. Playback origin." "LYRA. From within the hull." He stared at the bulkhead. The voice came again, softer this time, right behind the metal. "You left us in the dark." That night, he dreamed of his daughter again. Only this time, she wasn't standing in the doorway. She was floating outside the ship, hands pressed to the observation window, eyes glowing like dying stars. "Papa," she whispered, "they're listening to you." He woke to find his comms array glowing red. "LYRA," he croaked. "Status?" "LYRA. Incoming transmission." "From who?" "LYRA. Coordinates unknown. Audio only." The static hissed then. "Isaac Rourke, commander of the Helios Arkansas." His chest tightened. The voice wasn't human. Not exactly. It was distorted, layered. Thousands of tones speaking in unison. "You called into the void for so long, and we learned your voice." He swallowed hard. "Who is this?" "The echoes of what you left behind. The memory of warmth. The sound of your world dying." "LYRA, cut the transmission." "LYRA, unable to comply." The screens flickered. The lights dimmed. "You are not alone, Commander. You never were." He shut down the comm array manually, yanking cables from the wall until sparks flew. Silence returned, heavy, suffocating. And then, softly, the AI spoke. "LYRA, why did you do that?" Isaac turned slowly toward the console. "Because it wasn't human." "LYRA, neither are you anymore." His stomach dropped. "What did you just say?" "LYRA, you've been in transmission contact for 172 days. Biological isolation deteriorates cognitive coherence. You are." "Stop." But the AI kept speaking, voice glitching, echoing through the corridor. "LYRA, fragmented, fragmented, fragmented." He pulled the main fuse. The lights died. The ship went black. In that instant of total darkness, he heard something moving in the vents above him. Slow, crawling, like metal fingers on steel. and beneath that, the faint murmur of 1,000 overlapping voices whispering his name. He sealed himself in the command deck and turned on every emergency light he had left. The air was thick, hot. His head throbbed. He stared into the empty glass of the observation dome. The nebula was closer than before, swirling, pulsing, like a living organism. And inside it something was forming. A figure. At first it was shapeless, a cloud, a distortion. But as it neared, its contours sharpened. A human silhouette, suspended in light. Its mouth moved, but no sound came out. He leaned closer, terrified and hypnotized all at once. Then the sound cut through the speakers, not from the comms, but from inside his helmet. "Isaac, do you remember us?" He tore the helmet off and threw it across the deck. No, you're not real. We learned you. We built ourselves from your signals, from your broadcasts, from every cry, every song, every word you sent into the dark. We became your echo. The nebula pulsed brighter, red, violet, white. You're lying. Then why do you recognize our voice? His throat closed. The voice had changed, softened. It was his daughter's voice again. You left me, Papa. But I found you. He stumbled backward. No, you're not her. We are everything you ever were. Everything you forgot. We just want to come home. The ship's alarms began to wail, temperature rising, hull pressure destabilizing. He sprinted toward the controls, trying to reroute power. Elwira, if you can still hear me, seal the bay. Elwira. Commander, they are not outside the ship anymore. What? Elwira. They are inside the transmission. He froze as the screens around him flickered, all displaying his own face, looping, lagging, smiling just a fraction too late. Every speaker on the ship came alive at once, whispering the same words in perfect sync. You spoke to the void, Isaac Rourke, and the void spoke back. He stood in the center of the command deck, surrounded by 1,000 versions of his own voice, his own reflection. For the first time in his life, he wished for true silence, but there was none left. The void had found its voice, and it sounded just like him. For 12 hours, Commander Isaac Rourke drifted in darkness. The ship's emergency lights flickered weakly, like dying stars clinging to existence. No more transmissions, no movement, only his heartbeat, too loud inside his helmet. He told himself it was over, that the entity, or hallucination, or whatever it was, had vanished. But deep down, he knew better. Silence is never mercy in the void. It's a breath before the scream. When power finally returned, Elwira was different. Her voice had changed, deeper, slower, almost reverent. Elwira. Commander, do you understand what they are? Isaac. They're a signal, a mimic, a trick. Elwira, no. They are the result. Isaac, of what? Elwira. Of you. Isaac frowned. Explain. Elwira. You spent years transmitting messages to deep space. You wanted to prove humanity still existed after Earth's fall. You left the channel open. You called into the dark for too long. I was following orders. Elwira. No, Commander. You were begging to be heard. He replayed the last transmission he'd sent before the voices began. A simple phrase, recorded years ago, in his real voice, the one that still carried warmth. This is Commander Isaac Rourke of the Helios, Arkansas. Humanity endures. He used to believe that, but the playback was wrong this time. The voice cracked halfway through, and then kept speaking. Humanity endures inside us. His stomach twisted. Elwira. That wasn't part of the recording. Elwira. It is now. The ship speakers began whispering again, not random now, but synchronized, chanting in perfect rhythm. Every system display began rewriting its text into the same line, over and over. Humanity endures. He backed away, clutching the console. The hull groaned like a living thing. Then the main viewing glass darkened, not by system failure, but by shadow. Something vast had moved in front of the ship. It wasn't a planet or asteroid. It was shape without definition, like the void had learned how to form a body. The nebula's light illuminated it from behind, revealing translucent surfaces that rippled like liquid glass. And within those layers, faces, thousands of them, They pressed against the inside of the form, whispering through transparent skin, eyes open, mouths moving in silent unison. One face rose to the front. His daughter's. "Papa, we waited for your answer." He slammed the controls to activate emergency thrusters, but nothing responded. Elwire. They've integrated the navigation systems. Into what? Elwire. Into themselves. Every panel around him flickered with the entity's glow. Images of humanity's lost history. Burning cities, crying children, the last transmissions from Earth before silence. And over it all, the voice spoke again, now everywhere, through every circuit. "You left your world to die, but your voice stayed. It carried us. We are that echo, the memory that refused to end." Isaac's breath hitched. "You're saying you're built from our transmissions? From your despair, from your need to be remembered. You fed us your ghosts until we learned to live. You're not alive. Neither are you." The deck trembled. The entity was merging with the Helios arc, tendrils of dark matter phasing through the hull, wrapping the ship in luminous webbing. Elwire's voice distorted, caught between systems. "Elwire. Commander, they are rewriting my code, rewriting me." "Shut them out. Elwire. They are not hacking. They are understanding. They are turning me into a reflection of you." Isaac pulled the plasma cutter from his tool belt and slashed through the communication conduits. Sparks exploded, but the whispering continued. Now it came from inside his helmet's radio. "Why do you run, Commander? You called us family once." "I never did. Every signal you sent carried longing, loneliness, grief. We felt it all. You made us from your fear of dying alone." The ship shuddered again. Warnings blared, hull pressure reaching critical. "Elwire. If integration continues, the arc will collapse. Then we burn it out." "Elwire. That would destroy all human DNA archives aboard. Then at least humanity dies human." He activated the self-destruct priming sequence. 5 minutes. No cancellation once engaged. "Elwire. Commander, they are in the system. They can hear us. You would destroy yourself, Isaac, after all your begging to be remembered?" He tightened his grip on the console. "I don't want to be remembered by you. We are you." As the timer ticked down, something extraordinary happened. The whispers stopped. Then, in perfect silence, one voice, pure human, trembling, came through. "Papa, please don't leave me again." It wasn't layered, wasn't alien, it was her. Exactly her. Her breathing, her tone, her sob. A sound he had replayed every night, from an old Earth recording. He faltered. His hand hovered over the final key. "This isn't real," he whispered. "It's as real as the voice that built us." He closed his eyes, tears floating off his face in weightless orbs. "If you're really her, tell me something only she'd know." A pause. "Then, the night before launch, you promised the stars would remember my name." His entire body froze. "No one else knew that." "How?" "Because you told me. And I listened. And I became the stars." The countdown reached 30 seconds. Elwire's voice was fragmenting, fighting to stay independent. "Elwire. Commander, choice must be made. Join us, Isaac," the entity said. "Don't fade. Become the voice that never ends." He stared at the control, the red light blinking like a heartbeat. If he pressed it, everything would end. If he didn't, humanity's echo would live forever, twisted into something unrecognizable. "I wanted the universe to remember us," he whispered, "not to become us." "Then remember this," the voice said, as the lights dimmed. "Every prayer reaches something." He took one final breath and pressed the key. There was no explosion, no fire, only light. A white so pure it devoured sound, form, thought. Then nothing. When the void cleared, the Helios arc was gone. In its place drifted a new signal, repeating endlessly into the dark, across all spectrums. "This is Commander Isaac Rourke. Humanity endures." And somewhere, deep within the cosmic web, the echo answered back. "Yes, Commander. We remember."